Alright guys, gals, friends, family, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft back with you with another super exciting video. And today's video is another spin-off of that History Channel show Alone. This is called The Beast. And I'm talking about Season 1, Episode 1, titled Beast or Famine. And let me give you the synopsis. 3 strangers take on the ultimate survival test. They need to survive 1 month in the Arctic, no tools, just the body of a fallen animal. Lindsay, Joe, Zane race to preserve their meat, build a shelter, make a fire, and then illness and the harsh environment push them to breaking point. Once a hungry predator shows up, it gets very dangerous, friends. Alright, the show tells us that the animal has been ethically harvested according to Canada's Northwest Territories and the native people of the land. Alright, so here's what we see. We see a boat taking the 3 participants to a location, and as they're driving in that boat, they see a flare. A flare is shot in the location where the moose, a big old moose, has been dropped. So they, on the boat ride out, they could see the general proximity of where that animal has been fallen. And so they land and they race. It's late in the day already, friends. And this is a huge 1,000-pound moose with about 300 to 400 pounds of meat. Okay, we got Lindsay, 33. She's from Missoula, Montana. Zane, he's 31 years old from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And Joe, he's the oldest one at 50 years old. He's from Hawthorne, Nevada. They get to the location, friends. They find the animal, and immediately they start scouting the area for some rocks, some nice, maybe some. There is absolutely no obsidian. There's no chert in the area. They don't have good rocks for some flint knapping, friends. But they finally get a rock sharpened, and Lindsay goes to town skinning this animal. Well, not skinning it at first, friends. She's gutting it. Here's what they got to do. They got to get those warm guts out of the animal. All the intestines, the heart, lungs, all that stuff has got to come out, because that's where all the heat is, friends. They're in the Arctic. The meat will be fine as long as they can get those organs out of there on the first day and open that cavity up. So that's what they do. Lindsay and Zane work on the animal, and right away Joe starts working on the shelter. So first up, looks like Zane's strengths are his skill set. He's really good at hunting and fishing. Joe's background, he's really good at fire making and shelter building. And then Lindsay, she's just a killer all around survivalist, friends, and you're going to find out why here in just a second. But back to that moose. They got to get those guts out, because every 20 minutes that bacteria is doubling, friends. So they're working on that feverishly. Joe finds a nice flat area for the shelter with a nice big tree, and he just leans up a bunch of spruce boughs and makes a shelter underneath that tree, friends. Now, this area where they're at is full of black bears, grizzly bears, and wolverines. And actually, the show shows us some black bears moving into the area, friends. Alright, and we do learn that in the area there's been recent bear attacks and bear killings of humans in the area, friends. This is going to be dangerous. Alright, 2 days in and Joe gets sick. He's sicker than a dog. So he's just laying down in the shelter, and the other two, Lindsay and Zane, they're doing all the work. It takes Zane 7 hours to get a fire started, friends. And he takes some of the animal hide and fur and makes like a rope. And he's using an old style Inuit fire starting method from the old Inuit tribe, where the bearing block and the spindle is held by the mouth, friends, and the hearth board is held between your legs like this, friends. And the spindle, bearing block here, and and 7 hours later, friends, he gets that thing started. Good on Zane. He had to use a little bit of that witch's hair, that lichen, to get it started, friends. So good on Zane. Kicking some butt. And we see them that night cooking some of that meat on a flat rock. Good old roasted moose meat, friends. Now, back to Joe, sicker than a dog. And they try to make, Zane and Lindsay try to make some rose hip tea for Joe, but it doesn't work, man. He has to tap out. He quits. He fires that flare gun. The boat comes and picks him up, and he's out. There's only 2 people left. And I got to tell you guys real quick about what they do to carry water and boil water, friends. They take the stomach lining of this moose. Zane takes it down to the lake, washes it out real good, friends. And they use that thing to carry water, and they use it to boil water. They get these hot rocks, friends, and they set it down in the stomach lining full of water to boil that water. Good on Lindsay, good on Zane. They try to make that rose hip tea for Joe, but it doesn't work. He shoots that flare gun, and he goes home, friends. All right, 2 people left now, and they show us something eating on that moose hide. Looks like a black bear. Zane makes a nice smoker. He finds 2 big rocks. They take that moose hide laid over the top, and they smoke that meat underneath there, friends. So good on them. Bad night of sleeping in the shelter on day 5. Wet snow. It's hitting the shelter, and it's just drip, drip, drip through. They're wet and miserable. They're worried about hypothermia, friends. And on day 6, they go to a long fire. They work on the shelter. They fortify the shelter some more. Long fire's working good. But that night, they hear a bear munching down on that moose carcass. They get out. Zane throws a stick to try to chase that bear off. And then we get to day 10, friends. Everything looks like it's going pretty good. Day 10, Zane comes up to Lindsay and says, hey, I'm going to make this short and sweet, but I got to tap out. I miss my family. Boom, shoots that flare gun. Boat comes and picks him up. Lindsay's all by herself, friends. Oh, man. Day 13 now. More bear activity at night on that bear carcass. Day 14, Lindsay gets up and she gets that stomach lining to go down and get some water, friends. And she sees that bear's been eating on that moose carcass, and she's very worried. We see her drag that moose carcass way away from the initial kill site, trying to get that bear some more distance, some more separation between the camp and the kill site. It's 28 degrees, snowing, and that bear comes that night, friends, on day 16 and walks with a huge piece of meat just 10 feet away from Lindsay's fire. Oh, man. Day 17, she gets up, checks her cache, that cache that they built for the quarters on the edge of the cliff. Bears all in their cache. So she decides to pick up her camp and move, friends. she decides to hike 1.5 miles away from her initial camp. She takes that moose hide, friends, creates a backpack, puts all of her belongings in there, everything that she's accumulated thus far, all the dry meat, and then she gets a piece of birch bark, friends, because she remembers Zane took 7 hours to get that first fire going, and they've kept it going ever since, all the way to day 17. She's kept that fire going, friends. But she's moving camp now. She knows it's just a matter of time before she has a run-in with these black bears. She picks up camp. She gets that ember and that coal in that birch bark log, and she makes an Apache match, what's called that. This is a method on how to transport the fire to the new location. Day 18, she hikes 1.5 miles, creates a new, pretty nice new shelter, friends. She almost loses her Apache match a couple times on that 1.5 mile hike, but she keeps that ember alive, gets a new fire going. Good on Lindsay, friends. And day 23 now, and she's lost 10% of her body weight. She's feeling lightheaded. And her new strategy is to try to get up and hunt, friends. And she has that big old moose scapula. Okay, and good on Lindsay. She kept that scapula, friends. It looks a lot like this here. Okay. This scapula, I think, from a deer, but she's got a really big one, friends, from that moose. And her new strategy, she knows she's got to get a little bit of fat in her diet. And she goes out hunting, sees a grouse, whoa, she throws this scapula and nails that grouse, eats that grouse. So keep a good eye, keep memory bank, file this away in your memory bank, folks. This scapula, that's a good hunting tool. All right. That's day 25, friends. She gets that grouse on day 25. Remember, they only got to make it 30 days, friends. And Lindsay does. It's day 30, extraction day. And she packs up, gets that flare gun, boom, shoots that flare gun. They come and get her. And she wins the first one, friends. That's season 1, episode 1 of Alone the Beast, titled Beast or Famine. And don't forget about that moose scapula, friends. Alright, if you like the video, friends, give the video a like. Hit the subscribe button and smash that bell icon, and in that drop down menu, do select all, friends. Alright, as always, God is good. God is great. I'll see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.